at this, see? Is that enough for you? Da, 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 da. Brought to you in part by St. Croix Rods, best rods on earth. Strike King Lure Company, #1 in fishing lures. Ardent, pure performance, all-American. This week on Extreme Angler TV. See? See what I mean? Wow, eh?
What I have in my hands here is the Premier Pro model. It's the latest and greatest jig design that I've come out with.
We'll be right back. Hey, welcome back to Extreme Angler. It's late August, and sometimes those fish make it feel like a real job. I lost it. Oh, God. You can have the best ability in the world, basketball, hockey, soccer, whatever it is. Nature doesn't play so much of a key in the elements and stuff. When it comes to fishing, you can have all the talent in the world or even luck. At that time, if they don't want to open their mouth and bite, it can be really, really tough. But in those kind of conditions, in those days when I still want to go fishing, and I know you do too, you got to adapt, use different presentations, techniques, and baits to get those fish to either to trigger them to bite or just put it in front of their face so they will bite it. Today I'm going to try 2 different presentations combined in one. Throwing out horizontal baits to try to trigger their attention if they don't want to commit and eat either the Z2 or a crankbait or who knows, maybe even topwater. I'll have a backup bait like a zero, but I think the drop shot is one of the most popular presentations today because it catches fish, it's easy to use, and it's easy to learn. So I'm going to show you today how I use it on these northern cottage lakes, but I'm going to show you how I rig, fish it, and hopefully catch a couple of good ones. Let's see. I'm going to use a bait, try to maybe get a reaction strike, or I'm just really looking for fish, see what kind of mood they're in. The little Pro Model crankbait by Strike King, it's hard to beat. Other than the Z2, where fish come up and look at it, I'm going to stop and go, stop and go. See if I can get one to bite. If not, go with the drop shot. Basically what I'm going to try to do here, and I know it might be a slow day. I've heard all reports and stuff that it's been slow mid-August. Some days great, some days down. Wait for that fall feed, you know. But I want to go out, I want to catch some fish. So I'm going to use this crankbait, maybe a Z2, and try to trigger, find fish, cast out, rip it around, crank, stop, whatever it takes. A lot of times those smallmouth, just like pike and any other species, will come right to the boat and look at it. When they do that, potentially I can pick up the drop shot or a zero and drop it down and try to catch them. When they're in that slow zombie kind of mode, they're not jumping, they're not chasing real hard, you got to find ways to trigger them. And the drop shot, it's a great way to do it. And the crankbait with the stop and go. Cover some water, put it out, crank, 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 and stop. Crank, crank, stop. I want to trigger them. Just try to fool them. Rip the weeds. Sometimes you rip those weeds and stop, boom, that's when you get loaded up. It's a great way to cover water too. Where are you boys and girls, huh? Cranking them till your arms fall off. Where are you boys and girls, huh? There we go. See that? One got inspired, huh? I inspired one. Just a decent little fish. But I had to just slow that right down. Stop and go, stop and go. Oh, look at that, he's barely got it. That just shows you how they're biting. Look at, like, I mean, it couldn't get any closer. No big fish. But boy, oh boy, look where he got it. Look at that. You couldn't get any closer there, yeah? Right at the corner of the mouth. I've been fishing for about half an hour. And that's it? Is that all I'm gonna do today? I don't think so. I think I'm gonna have to just use these baits, maybe some Z2s, trigger them, see them, and hopefully get some of those bigger ones with the drop shot when I see the symbols, or I see the flash in front of the boat, the side of the boat, or see maybe some fish breaking and stuff. But tell you, they are not in an aggressive mood. So I'm gonna have to just try to trigger them with this drop shot, maybe the zero. Let's see. Come on, fishy, fishy. Cranking, cranking, and just stop. Totally stop. It's a great presentation too for pike, because pike are notorious for following your bait. Follow, follow. That's why jerk baits are good. Go, go, and you let it stop and sit there. It sits in front of their nose, bang. Or sometimes as soon as you start again, there's one right there. Boom, they'll hit it like it's taken off. And it's good because you can cover a lot of water too. Let's see. There's one right there. Look at that. Good one too. He loaded up on, oh, two more with him too. Wow. But look at, no high jumps. Just nice solid fish on the crankbait. On a slow, slow pause and go retrieve. Son of a gun, huh? Look at him. Now he's fighting. Now he's fighting. I saw you with a couple friends, and what I'm going to do, put a waypoint, okay? I save it where I am. And there's another fish right there below the boat. I'll take some pictures of some fish. Man, oh man, it's exciting. Even on a slow day, you can trigger them and find them. But the thing is, crankbaits, people think you just buy them, cast them out, don't do anything to them. You got to check, make sure they run right, that the lip is right, the hooks are sharp. After you catch a fish, every time I do the sticky test. That is, I just hold it like that. My fingers stick to it like they're sticky, it's sharp. And it runs right. Beautiful. Let's keep at it. Wow. What's that? I lost it. Oh, God. Oh, that was heavy too. Banged it, off he came. Son of a gun. Can't stand it when I lose them. Everyone loses fish. That's the way it goes. But boy, that was heavy too. Oh, lordy, lordy, lordy. Crank, stop. It's that back and forth. I'm just trying to trigger them to seed my bait. Then maybe, wham, there's a couple around. Want to come over and pop it. I slow it down. I just keep changing my cadence. I don't just crank, crank, crank. Sometimes it works good if you just want to crank real good. The fish are active, you can trigger them as well. But I'm finding that I have to cast it, stop, almost like dead stick, let it sit there. And if one sees it long enough, maybe there's two fish there, boom, one will hit it or he'll show himself. And I can go back with a secondary bait, like the drop shot or zero. We'll find out. See? See what I mean? Wow, hey. Loosen them off a bit. Isn't that something? Unbelievable. Looks like a decent little fish too. But no big jumps. It just shows you the kind of mood they're in, huh? Like little zombies. But you can still trigger them, make them bite. Look at them down there, huh? Nice fish too. There he is. Just a solid fish. We're not gonna say we're getting giant fish today, but you know what? On a slow day, I will take a boatload of these anytime. Look at that, crank just came off like that. We'll put him in there with his friend, then let him go. But I'm telling you, boy, when I wanna go fishing and I wanna catch fish, I learned years ago, you gotta be versatile, different presentations, baits, you name it, everything it takes to catch fish. And I love to go fast, jerk bait, spinner bait, throw the jig and go, go, go. So it's sometimes a challenge to slow right down, let that crankbait sit there, wait till they eat it. But when they do, it's all worth it. Let's go, and you know what? I'm just gonna have fun. These fish wanna eat, but they want it presented in a certain way, slow. But here's a dilemma. You know, you talk about fishing slow. Okay, I can pick up the drop shot and zero, maybe something else, and just slowly fish away, slowly fish away. Takes up a lot of time, a lot of time. So I want to try to find the best of both worlds. Trigger them, find them, and then slow down, because they don't go too far. That's one thing about smallmouth. And you see them, they might flash at your bait and go away again. They stick around that area. You just got to be patient, work the area. But if you know they're there, it's a lot better than just fishing open water with a slow presentation, because it's just like fishing in a bathtub. You can be doing the best presentation in the world. There's no fish there, who cares? The crankbait, other baits like it, help you find them.
You guys stay tuned for more exciting action on Extreme Angler.
And now it's time for the Cottage Angler, presented by Evercast. Establish a pattern.
Hi, I'm Denny Brower. I want to show you a bait that has probably given me more success over the years than all the other baits put together in my tackle box, and that's a good old Strike King jig. And what I have in my hands here is the Premier Pro model. It's the latest and greatest jig design that I've come out with. And of course, it's got the rattle in it. Every time you move it in the water, it has the freedom to move around. So if it hits a branch and goes sideways, it's actually going to make noise. And every time you jig it up and down, it's going to make noise. Dirty water, heavy cover that helps the fish locate the bait. I've also designed it with a head that is super friendly in grass or wood. We got a big old flipping hook there, a strong weed guard for getting through the heavy cover. So it's a bait designed not for really open water fishing, but designed for flipping and pitching in heavy cover. And I think you all know the type of quality bites that a jig will get you. One thing that can be a real key when you're fishing jigs around docks is really paying attention to where you get the bites. And they'll stack up on the ends of these little dock slips, and that can be the key area, or an area where the wind's pushing in. The whole deal is I'll just come through and I'll fish every little nook and cranny until I get that first bite. And when I get that first bite, that may be the fish that tells me exactly how I need to fish future docks, and that way I don't have to fish them all. So I'm just pumping it back in kind of a horizontal retrieve, and that can really key up a bunch of strikes because you're keeping it at the same level as what the fish are at. So you need to experiment. Try a couple of different type of retrieves around the boat docks, especially in the fall when you got a lot of bait fish on the surface. They like to suspend up where those bait fish are at, and then the swimming jig will produce a lot more than just taking a jig and letting it free fall to the bottom. But cover a lot of water, because most of these strikes are going to come fairly fast. They're going to be reflex strikes, and don't get into the rut of fishing too slow. The key is covering water.
It'll show me the more active ones anyway. Oh, big one. Holy Mackinaw. That was one big smallmouth. Look what I just said too, eh? Drop shot. He was right behind it, real slow like this. Just looking at it. Beautiful big smallmouth. Wow. And there he is. Look at that, folks. Wow, hey. You just gotta hope and pray that they're hooked good. But you search them out, and then you sometimes can destroy them with a backup bait. It's not a big giant fish, but you know what? When you're catching smallmouth, they don't have to be absolute giants to have fun, because they are just pure muscle, you know? 1 pound, 2 pound, 3 pounds. Look at that hook, that penetration. Daiichi drop shot hook, thank you again. We're gonna put a few in the box, okay? He's not a bragging fish at all, but boy, they look so nice in the water. I love that. And you start putting it together, changing up different presentations, catching fish, boxing them, taking pictures, and letting them go. That fish, I seen the sonar, right away I seen the streak going down below the boat. Pick up that drop shot, put it on his nose. He showed me he wants to eat. He didn't put a lot of effort in chasing the Z2 to eat it. Maybe if I let it sink a bit more, but I'm only using it as an attractor to find fish, find some somewhat aggressive fish. If they're real active, they're still gonna eat it. But I use a drop shot as a backup to catch those fish. Let's keep going and have some fun. You know, another thing about this presentation that's actually quite fun is work in an area that has got a little bit of weed, some rock and edges and stuff, and you can pinpoint. You can see with the sonar where the weed ends, where the rocks fall down, where it gets from 10 feet to 23, or if it's really deep and then comes up. You can work this drop shot by dropping it straight down, right to where you see the little edges, see the breaks, see the end, the ledges, and hopefully see the hooks, and just put it right where those fish are, and then you could just shake it, and wait for that either to load up or just feel that little weight of a sensation lift up on the fish. It's a fantastic presentation because you got the weight on the bottom and your bait just stays in their nose. You think they're that smart? They're not. All they do is see that little bait in front of their nose, they eat it. It's great. Let me show you how slow I work this drop shot. I know there's dead sticking and stuff, but when I'm using little baits like little finesse worms and stuff, I'm just, oh, geez, eh? Amazing. I feel like I had some weight there too, but look at that. See that line? Just barely vibrating, barely. Look at my hand, it's barely moving at all. It's not doing anything. And bring it in, make sure that weight's on the bottom, just shake again. All I want that line just to vibrate a bit. And you just know that bait's going like this. Whether you're using a little shad bait, a worm. I better check if he didn't take my bait off. Boy, and just real slow. This is the presentation where slow is better. You don't want to go too quick. Let them see it. It's a very unintimidating presentation, but man, it makes them bite when they don't want to bite. Let's see if he took my bait. Oh yeah, he took that off. Look at that. That's Gandhi. Put a little soft little bait on, right through the nose. Let's put it right back out there again. Put it on our hand, pitch. And look at this. See the wind's coming this way? I can stay back from the area that I'm casting to because I'm not going to drift over it. But I can very easily cast up to it again, let it settle, let it go down, and work it. There's a weed bed here going down to 8, 9, 10 feet into the main lake. And those fish are just feeding on those chubs and small perch and stuff. And they're just cruising through once in a while. Once in a while they get fooled by my little bait. But I can just go nice and slow. Stay back, putt up, stay back, stay on those weeds. See, I'm off them now. I'm gonna pull up a little bit more. But you don't want to go on top of a spot where potentially you're catching fish, you have caught fish, or you see them and drift over them and stuff. That's not a good thing. Whether it be walleye, largemouth, it doesn't matter. Especially these smallmouth that are feeding on these perch and stuff. Stay back, make your pitches, catch your fish. Oh, there's a lot better one right there. Look at him. Oh boy, I think he's in the nose too. Oh boy. He in the nose? Hey, look how lazy they're fighting. Look how lazy. Wow, like lazy fish. Look how color of that fish. It'll tell you exactly where he was. Right in that weed by the color of the fish. Look at him. I got him right in the nose too. Got lucky with that one. Okay, let's put him in the box. Joe and his buddy. Just a decent little fish. That's what I mean. Just gotta keep going, you know? So easy to say sometimes, man, it's not happening. Forget it. But you know what? There's always ways to find the fish and catch them. When you're consistent on a presentation like the drop shot, it's great because you can drag it, throw it, drop it straight down. It's deadly. There's so many ways to use it. But that drop shot, it's not so much about the bait and stuff. It's a presentation. You're putting it right in front of this and this. They do that, most times fish are going to eat. To me, one of the best things about drop shot fishing is that it's the excitement of seeing a fish on your sonar, seeing an arc, or seeing a fish come after your other presentation, picking up this, pitching it out, letting it drop, shaking it a few times, then feeling it load up. And there he is. Look at that, folks. You can use sometimes zeros or tubes and things like that, but something about that drop shot that gets right away into where those fish are, it's phenomenal. Doesn't have to wait to go down and fall. You can put this right where the fish are. One option, eat it. Right on that 10-foot edge. Right about somewhere here. Oh boy. There was some serious hooks there. What was that, man? A whole bunch. I know where they are now. Smallmouth. Decent little smallmouth too. Look at him. I saw you boys just sitting there, a little group of you. A bunch of groupies. Right in the lip there. That's why it's so important to keep your eye on that sonar. I saw those fish, went over those fish. Look at him. Look how long he is too, eh? He's not a giant fish either, but all brown by those rocks and stuff. I'm gonna put him in there, maybe take a couple shots. But you see how he fought? Seriously? They're in some kind of weird sluggish mode, man. I call it zombie mode. Seriously, they're like the Walking Dead of smallmouth. And it's always in August it happens, where you think they should be just going nuts and stuff. But for now, I wanna catch fish, so I had to work a little bit harder, but still catching them. Let's keep going. I've had it for a day. Had some fun. See, I wanted to go out, and I just know late August, sometimes it can just be a bummer for catching bass. But sometimes these smallmouth, you can will them to bite. Until I see you again, pick up different presentations, and even on those days, in those weeks and periods where the fish seem sluggish, or they don't want to really cooperate, you can still catch them with little presentations and little soft baits like the drop shot. Listen, thanks for watching. We're gonna see you next time on Extreme Angler. That's what you get for a lazy August day. Oh well, still caught him, still had fun. See you next time.
And if you want more Extreme Angler, go to our website, extremeanglertv.com, and I'm sure you'll find us on all your popular social networks, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook, because I know you're gonna like us.